Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my latest episode of Desert Island Discs. Well, we take a look at one of my shelves, we take a look at the items upon that shelf, we then whittle them down and I choose the one film among all the others that I would take above all the rest for whatever reason it may be. So let's get into it. Hi everyone, yes, so what is this, episode 18 I think it is, something like that. So we're going to do this shelf here today and then in 2 weeks time we'll jump over to a steelbook shelf. Yeah, we're going to go for this shelf here. It's going to be a bit of a questionable one considering what's on there and what I would take. Now in 2 weeks ago when I've done my last episode, my choice, well, as I'm recording this, I've not aired that episode, so I don't know what people's responses were to my choice on that one. I didn't expect them to be somewhat favourable, but we'll see what this shelf has in store. So let's get on with it, shall we? So let's have a look at, so collectible-wise on this shelf, I've got nothing really aside from this Terminator head. Top comes off and you can like store little bits in there. Yeah, it's quite nice. These are quite affordable as well. I think it was about 30 quid for that. That Terminator's gone. Now I'll put that out of the way. And I also have a tin Batman embossed thing that came free when I was collecting some of the Batman books, like what Eaglemoss and that sort of a thing do. Issue 608 of Batman. This, I believe, might have been the first story of Hush, the first episode, the first issue of Hush, if I'm not mistaken. I know that's a Jim Lee, and I know Jim Lee done Hush. I may be wrong because I'm going back quite a bit, but that's a Jim Lee drawing there. That I do know. He's got a very distinct art style. So, my shelf here. Now, this isn't going to take overly long. I've got a copy of The Quick and the Dead there. I don't know why. It needs to go into the Blu-ray, but we're not including that. I've got some card bits here. I'll keep them to one side. So let's take a look at what's on this shelf here anyway. Okay, so let's start here. It's not even a complete shelf. I've got gap and I've got nothing on top. These are all peas by the looks of it. So let's take a look. And I thought I would have had, I know, it's a continuation of peas from 2 weeks ago because peas were up there, which is quite nice that I'm continuing this and not jumping into a steelbook shelf now because I get the peas out of the way. Yeah, and then there's ours down here. So the first film we have here is Prospect, which is a sci-fi film that starred Pedro Pascal, Sophie Thatcher. Sophie Thatcher. I watched her in something the other day. Horror film. The Boogeyman. She was in The Boogeyman, yes. She's a lot younger in this. And obviously I watched this around the time when Pedro Pascal was stepping into the role of the Mandalorian. So it kind of, yeah, made me want to watch something with Pedro Pascal in. But there we go. Then we have, still sealed, and this is from Poundland, this was, and it is Nicolas Cage in Pay the Ghost. I like Nicolas Cage as an actor, and it's also got her in it. She from The Walking Dead. She was Rick Grimes' wife, I believe. Yeah, she was. Yeah, I can't tell you if I've seen this. It's sealed. I don't think I've seen it. I mean, it's sealed. I mean, I may have seen it beforehand. But it's one of those sort of Nicolas Cage where he's making everything and a load of dross. But he's always good in whatever he does, isn't he? And then, for some reason, I picked this up. I don't know why. And it is the remake of The Poltergeist. I do have Poltergeist 1. And that came out when I done the peas last time. It was up here somewhere. I don't know where it is. I say that because in reality, there it is there. So I'm going to pull that one down because it makes sense for the two poltergeists to be sat next to each other. But we're not including that because it was from the other shelf. But Poltergeist and Poltergeist. Poltergeist the remake. And then we have Ben Affleck, Josh Hartnett and Kate Beckinsale in Pearl Harbor. Yes, from Michael Bay. Film looked great. It looked great. And then we have Promising Young Woman. And it's still sealed, but I did see it and do a review of it. And then I bought it when it came out. Now the girl in this, she was in an episode of Doctor Who. The very first episode with the Weeping Angels from David Tennant's era. And I think her name was Sparrow, Sally Sparrow or something like that. The character's name. She was very good in it. In Doctor Who. She was very, very good. So much so that you'd like to have seen her as a consistent companion to him. That being said, she hasn't aged very well. There's parts of this film where she looks pretty haggard. That's a horrible thing for me to say, I know, but it's true. It's true. She doesn't look great. And then let's have a look here. Let's just take these. Okay, so I've taken. It's easier if I do it like this, isn't it? I'll do them in a lump. So we have Joe Dante's original Piranha. Yeah. Came from that era of Jaws rip-offs. Jaws had come out. Jaws was big business, and then in the early 80s they done Piranha. Then we have Piranha 2, The Spawning, from, it is from 88 Films? Yeah, from 88 Films, directed by James Cameron. At least he's listed as the director. Did he get kicked off of it and someone else finished directing? I'm not sure how it went now, but I know that this isn't considered really a James Cameron film, but it's the first film that he ever done, worked on. Then we have Piranha 3D, the remake one, or the the reimagining, whatever, the newer. Kelly Brook in it. I do like Kelly Brook. Get a calendar every year. Saying that, it must be about due out. Whereas I'm filming this, it's the beginning of September. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to stop this video and have a look. Well, I've taken a look. It's there, but it's unavailable. This is the cover. This is the front. Inevitably, by the time this airs, which is into November, maybe going into December, I've got that calendar. But there we go. So, yeah, Piranha 3D. It's a fun film. And then we have Piranha 3 Double D. David Hasselhoff is in this one. Gary Busey. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd was in the other one, actually, I think. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I remember it being, again, fun, silly, nonsense. And that's exactly what it is. Fun, silly nonsense. Okay, now we have Pan's Labyrinth. From Guillermo del Toro. I hate saying that guy's name. I'm alright when I'm not on camera. Guillermo. I struggle. Del Toro. I hate Guillermo del Toro. I hate his name, and even in the TV show What We Do in the Shadows, one of the guys in that is called, one of the characters, the human who wants to be a vampire, the familiar, his name is Guillermo, and one of the other characters just calls him Gizmo because they can't do Guillermo, deal with his real name. Pan's Labyrinth, yep. Then we have Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds in The Proposal. That was quite fun. What a bad film. A nice little rom-com. Two great actors, actor and actress. Who Who doesn't like Ryan Reynolds? Who doesn't like Sandra Bullock? It's okay. Okay, then we have, and I love this film, it's a Clint Eastwood film. Directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Clint Eastwood, starring Kevin Costner. Perfect World. That's it's a great film. Great film. Okay, moving on. We have a box set. Oh, let's get it down. Friday the 13th box set. Let's take a look at the films in here. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so this is obviously the US release from, what's their called? What's their face? What's the company? Shout Factory. Lovely, lovely box. Lovely art on it, if you can see. There's a book inside that's just fallen, but let's take a look. So, obviously, what do we have? We have Friday the 13th, the original film. Friday the 13th, part 2. You do have sort of a reversible sleeve. Friday the 13th, part 3. Again, I won't show them all like that, but they do have reversible art. Then we have Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Friday the 13th, part 5, A New Beginning. Friday the 13th, part 6, Kill or Be Killed. What's that one called over here? Then we have Friday the 13th, part 7, The New Blood. Friday the 13th, part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. For about 5 minutes. Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Then we have... Which way round does this go? I don't know. But anyway, then we have... oh yeah, Freddy versus Jason in there as part of it. Fantastic. It's nice that they've included that one in there as one of this set. Then we have Jason X, the Outspace set one, with a lot of, well, feels like a cast reunion for the TV show Andromeda. Then we have Friday the 13th, the remake one with what's his face from Supernatural in it. And there's a bonus material thing there. And you get a nice book with it, the book that I dropped on the floor. So, as they stand, I used to like, these are sort of films that I grew up on, shall we say. That's why I've got a liking for them. I'm not a big horror fan, although we've got another horror box set again in a minute. I'm not a big horror fan, but there's certain things that I gravitate towards, and generally from my younger years. Friday the 13th being one of them. Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, them being the others. And yeah, so as these films go, I get enjoyment from them. But I think the most watched one I've seen out of all these ones I go to the most is actually Jason X, because it's so far removed from the rest of them, and I like the science fiction element to it, and I think Uber Jason looks fantastic. Movie Maniacs from Todd McFarlane, the toy collection years back, done a fantastic figure of this Jason. I haven't got it anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, it's I know it's not one of the best ones, but it's the one that I sort of rewatch the most because it's so different. Yeah, so there we have Friday the 13th Saga. And what do I have here? Okay, I have Camp Crystal Lake, The Memories, the documentary film about it. Anyway, now we're going to go into another horror box set that's under P that happens to be on this shelf as well. And this box set is far cheaper series. Puppet Master. Puppet Master, a little bit thingy there, scuffing. I bought this off of eBay. I knew there was a bit of, you know, thingy to the box, but that's fine. So let's have a look at the Puppet Masters, shall we? So again, these are films I grew up on. These are cheap. These are cheap, nasty films. Don't get me wrong. There's not much budget to them. But Killer Dolls, I don't know. I'm just like drawn to them. They're like, you know, the Z-list Chucky sort of thing. But anyway, so we have Puppet Master 1. Puppet Master 2, and I do remember when this came out, and I remember renting it from there's my DVD in there as well. I remember renting it from the video store. I remember getting the poster when they took the posters down. They gave me the poster to it. The poster was pretty cool, better than what the box art is. But then we have Puppet Master 3. Puppet Master 4. Puppet Master 5. And I do have all the comics of these as well, even the ones that were printed by Half Moon Entertainment, or Full Moon Entertainment back in the days. Yeah, and the newer ones. And we have Retro Puppet Master. Curse of the Puppet Master. Puppet Master The Legacy. But what you'll find is this one's more akin to a sort of uses clips from the others to get his story. So it's sort of real cheap. You know, like when TV shows used to do that as well. Puppet Master Axis of Evil. And this goes into a trilogy now of like Nazi set ones. Axis Rising. An Axis Termination, like that. And then Arcana of the Puppet Master, which is making of stuff that's there. So we have that, and we do have a little booklet in there as well. Charles Band's The Puppet Master. But the Puppet Master films franchise is still going today, still going strong. Don't really want to use the word strong or the term strong. I shouldn't really. It's still going, shall we say. Let's not say going strong. It's still going because we've actually had a remake film of the first one, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad at all. I know that in the States this had a 4K release, and I used to have it, only at the time I didn't have a 4K player, so I got rid of it. That was before my days of 4K. But also in here I have Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, which is not a part of this film franchise. It's kind of an aside. But yeah, so that's the remake one. But that sits on my shelf after these that came after the remake, which is Blade the Iron Cross, which is a Blade, the main little puppet. It's a Blade-centric film. These are newer. And more recently, this very year I believe, we had Puppet Master Doctor of Death. Another film. But this plays more like a short because it's only about an hour long. It's an hour-long film, focusing around the character of Dr. Death, and it does lead it open to go into further adventures. So there's the Puppet Master, yeah. And then we have Russell Crowe in The Pope's Exorcist, and I really did enjoy this film. I thought it was fantastic, and I think it was a travesty that we didn't get a Blu-ray release of it in this country. However, Germany did. And it still has all the English components all the foreign speaking parts with English subtitles. which is great. So you get the film on there, the full film. Yeah, we only got DVD in this country. I thought Russell Crowe gave a fantastic performance within this movie. I really did. So that's it for P. But I've still got the Q's on this shelf. Believe it or not, I haven't got many films beginning with Q. Quantum of Solace is under the section up here, which would have been my first episode, which done the numbers, because it's all 007. So that would be up there. So I've got some Q's here. So what do I have? Okay, so I have A Quiet Place. Decent film. I like John Krasinski. I think he's great. He directed this, obviously. And he done a good job. Then we have A Quiet Place 2. Again, directed by John Krasinski. Obviously, John Krasinski, his character's dead, so he's not in it. Does he do a cameo in it? Flashback? I'm not sure. He may do. Can't remember. I've only seen that once, and I picked it up very cheap, just so I had the second one. I don't think it's a strong film whatsoever. I think the concept is open to too many questions. I find myself questioning the world, questioning how things work, and it takes me out of the movie. I don't think that it's as well written as what people like to think. People are very accepting of things these days. That's what I'll say. That's all I'll say to that. But then we have here the last two, and these are under Q, and they really shouldn't be, because they're just the versions I've got are started with Q, and that is it's the two Alan Quatermain films. Sharon Stone stars in these, alongside what's his face, Richard Chamberlain. That's it. His name eluded me for a minute. Very Indiana Jones rip-off, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Alan Quatermain is a character that is from literature, you know, from a long time ago. He's a character that's in the public domain, and those were films were done around the time of Indiana Jones, off the back of Indiana Jones, trying to cash in on the popularity of that film series. So there we go. There we have that entire shelf. Oh, I'm yawning, sorry. So a small shelf in a sense of stuff, not too much on it. So what's your pick? What would you take on that shelf? If you're a horror fan, would it be one of the horror titles? I'm going to have to look at what I would take. I'll have a look and I'll be back. Okay, so looking at it, this is the thing with this series of video that I'm doing now. There's nothing on this shelf here that would fall within my top 10 films of all time. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of shows a flaw within this video series, in that I'm picking from a lot of films that are just okay films, rather than being astounding, jaw-dropping movies. Do you know what I'm saying? Films that wouldn't make any list whatsoever, really. So the one film I've picked is here. I give props to Piranha. I enjoy Piranha. It's a fun movie. It's one that I do get enjoyment from watching. There's nothing here really. You know, the proposal with Ryan Reynolds is quite funny. I don't mind revisiting that. I think The Pope's Exorcist is highly underrated, and I really enjoyed it. A Quiet Place, I think they're overrated. To be honest, I don't think they're as good as what people make out. The first one's okay. So the one film here, the one film on this shelf, and remember, there's not a great deal on this shelf either, because there's nothing up the tops. The middle has got a Terminator head in it, so that's about 6 or 7 Blu-rays that could fit there. The one film that I would take above all else from this shelf is Perfect World of Kevin Costner. directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Clint Eastwood, where Clint Eastwood has to go after Kevin Costner, who's a criminal. Kevin Costner, like, sort of kidnaps this boy, but he bonds with the child, bonds with him, and yeah, it's a solid film, a really good movie. Laura Dern stars in it as well. She's very good in the film. I remember watching it when it first came out, and I thought it was really good. I found it to be quite upsetting as well at the end. I didn't feel that on my later watches of the film, but certainly when I first saw it, I did. And it's a really good Kevin Costner movie. So that's my pick, The Perfect World. What would yours be? Let me know in the comments down below. I will say that out of all the films on this shelf, it would probably have been Piranha and Jason X that I've watched the most. More than The Perfect World. But Perfect World I'll take with me. So, yeah, let me know. Let me know down below. Until next time.